memories and what you liked, looked like naked and what made you cry, and even how much you loved them. When our lives revolve around someone, they don't just stop doing so. All that's left is some imbalance of their memory. There are always those bits that linger, the memories that are impressed on the places we went, and the things you said, the songs you listened to remain. Sorry, my mouth is getting dry. We all eventually find ourselves standing in the checkout line, hearing one of those songs come on and realizing that we're revolving around them again. And maybe we never stopped. Do you ever forget your lover's birthdays, or all of the first times, intimate or not? Do your anniversaries ever become normal days of the year again? Are the things you did and promises you made ever really neutralized? Or do they become void now that you are broken up? Or do you decidedly ignore them because there's simply no other choice? The mind tells you to go on and focus your heart and follow suit, I guess. I want to believe that you either love someone in some way forever, or you never really actually love them at all. That once two reactive chemicals cross, both are changed. That the wounds we leave in people are sometimes too raw to risk falling back into them. I want to believe that we write each other off because we simply don't matter anymore. I know love isn't expendable. I wonder, and maybe hope, if we ever just force it to be out of necessity. Maybe it's just that we're all in the centers of our own little universe, and sometimes they overlap with the other people's, and then that small bits of intersection leave some part of it changed. The coalition can wreck us, change us, shift us. Sometimes we merge into one, and other times we reside because the comfort of losing what we thought we knew wins out. Either way, it's inevitable that you expand, that you're left knowing much more about the love and what it can do, and the pain that only a hole in your heart and space in your bed, the emptiness in the next chair over can bring. Whether or not that hole will ever again include the person who made it in that way, I don't know. Whether or not anybody else can match the outline of someone else who is deeply impressed in you, I do not know that either. We will start as strangers. The choices we make in terms of love are usually ones that seem inevitable anyways. We find people irrationally compelling. We find souls made out of the same stuff as ours are. We find classmates and partners and neighbors and family friends and cousins and sisters, and we live our lives intersected in a way that makes them feel like they couldn't have ever been separate. And this is lovely. But the ease access isn't what we crave. It isn't what I'm writing about right now. It isn't what we resolve around after it's gone. We are all just waiting for another universe to collide with ours, to change what we can't ourselves. It's interesting how we realize that the storms returns to calm. But we see the stars differently now, and we don't know and we can't choose whose wreckage can do that for us. We all start out as strangers, but we forget that we rarely choose who ends up a stranger too. this is the bias basis of connection, the thing on which our brains are wired to desire, on which we personally thrive. Here are the core traits of someone who is socially intelligent. Number 1, they do not try to elect a strong emotional response from anyone they are holding a conversation with. They don't communicate in such a way that agonizes their accomplishments to incite a response of awe or exaggerates. Their hardships to indicate a response of sympathy. They usually occur when the topic in question is not actually deserving of such a strong response, and therefore makes others uncomfortable because they feel pressured to fake an emotional reaction. Number 2, they do not speak in definitives about people, politics, or ideas. The fastest way to sound unintelligent is to say, this idea is wrong. That idea may be wrong for you, but it exists because it is right to someone else. Intelligent people say, I don't personally understand this idea or agree with it. To speak definitively about one person or ideas is to blind to the multitude of perspectives that exist on it. It is the definition of closed-mindedness and short-sightedness. They don't immediately deny criticism or have such a strong emotional reaction to it that they become unapproachable and unchangeable. Some of the most difficult people to be in a relationship with is those who are so threatened by even the slightest suggestion that their behavior is harmful, that they are actually end up getting angry at the person suggesting it, reinforcing the problem altogether. Socially intelligent people listen to the criticism before they respond to it. An immediate emotional response without thoughtful consideration is just defensiveness. Number 4, they do not confuse their opinion of someone for being a fact about them. Socially intelligent people do not say, he's a brick, as though it is a fact. Instead, they say, I had a negative experience with him where I felt very uncomfortable. Number 5, they never overgeneralize other people through their behaviors. They don't use you always or you never to illustrate a point. Likewise, they wrote their arguments and statements that begin with I feel as opposed to you are. They do this because choosing language that feels unthreatening to someone is the best way to get rid of them. Best way to get them to open up. change their minds. For example, I am sad today. Well, you shouldn't be. Your life is great. The main misunderstanding here is that validating feels is not the same thing as validating ideas. There are many ideas that do not need to be deserved or deserve to be validated, but everyone's feelings deserve to be seen and acknowledged and respected. Validating someone's emotions is validating who they really are, even if you would respond differently. So in other words, it is validating who someone is rather than they are different than you. Number 10. They recognize that their shadow selves are the traits, behaviors, and patterns that aggravate them about others.